pussy shit, no pussy shit. I'm gone. I would never sleep on a pussy nigga. I would never eat with a pussy nigga. I wouldn't do no dirt with a pussy nigga. Cause baby, I'm a fucking pussy nigga killer. I would never sleep on a pussy nigga. I would never eat with a pussy nigga. I wouldn't do no dirt with a pussy nigga. No pussy nigga. Cause baby, I'm a fucking pussy nigga killer.
It was no longer just a handful of scientists on the internet. It was now anyone with a modem.
When you have 25 people on a network, you can be pretty sure they're going to play well. But when you have a billion people on a network, you can be pretty sure that somebody is not playing fair.
I think a lot of y'all are uncomfortable with having a conversation with me. Because number one, y'all think I'm going to attack you. Number two, you think I'm going to hack your account. And number three, you think that I'm going to scramble your system. But just know this right here. I am not going to put a Trojan on your phone. I am not going to take over your account. I'm not going to pick all up in your phone. I'm not going to be looking through your front face camera and all of that. I'm not going to do that. I can do that. I can do that shit. Try me and think that I can't, and I'll let you know what the fuck you be doing. That's word up. That's why y'all motherfuckers be scared, because y'all know who got the juice out this motherfucker. Y'all know I ain't gonna just talk about it. I can show and prove.
There's a very, very strong ethos among hacker underground communities to keep quiet. If you're calling attention to yourself through these kind of audacious hacks and groups, guess who's gonna come knocking?
You were drawing unnecessary attention to yourself.
I'm not gonna be looking through your front face camera and all of that. I'm not gonna do that. I can do that. I can do that shit. Try me and think that I can't, and I'll let you know what the fuck you be doing. That's word up. That's why y'all motherfuckers be scared, because y'all know who got the juice out this motherfucker. Y'all know I ain't gonna just talk about it. I can show and prove.
There were certain individuals who kind of thumbed their nose at the whole thing and kind of had a more daring attitude at a time when what modesty probably would have been a better course of action.
Once he likes it, everybody that's on his friend list will then see in the place that you call people you may know, it'll come up and you'll see the picture of that fake page that they made. When you click on that page and when you're looking through the pictures, I guarantee you, if you like one of those pictures, once that you like one of those pictures, those individuals then are able to hack your account. And the reason how they're able to hack your account, because when they get the notification with your name on it, they'll quickly go to the same screen on the blue, log in Facebook, which I just explained, and they'll follow those same steps that I just explained to you in order to hack an account. And then what they do is, once they get your information and then they actually hack your account, this is what they're after. They're after your
Evolved. Mischievous kids are no longer the main problem. Now it's all about the money. And viruses are designed expressly to steal your data.
In the good old days, all the viruses were written by, hobbyists and geeks and nerds in their basement for fun, for fame, really. That started changing 5 years ago or so. To professionals and criminals, people who do this to make money, even people who make millions.
And while thieves used to break into your house, these days it's much easier for them to break into your computer. What they're looking for is personal information, credit card numbers and banking details, anything that can be sold for quick and easy cash.
A hacker recently told me that identity theft is a great new career. It has great benefits. Why would you make minimum wage when you can stay in the best hotels and buy big screen TVs with somebody else's money?
Today, TJX announced the theft of millions of credit card numbers and other personal customer information. Companies
In 2007, TJX, a department store giant with over 2,000 retail outlets around the world, found themselves the victim of the largest known internet theft to date.
Attackers broke into their systems, probably over an insecure wireless network, and basically had the run of their network, as far as we can make out, for as much as 18 months, maybe even a few years, we're not entirely sure.
Hackers downloaded credit card numbers, millions of them. The exact figure will probably never be known.
Initial estimates of the numbers of individual credentials was around the 45-46 million mark. In more recent filings, we believe it may be as much as 94 million.
And credit cards aren't the only thing thieves took.
Initially, we thought it was just credit card, bank card details. Over time, we discovered there were driver's licenses as well, which is much more significant if you're getting into pieces of identification that can really allow identity thieves to build identities from the ground up.
The thieves were able to break into the system by using a hacker trick called war driving. Basically driving around with a laptop and a homemade antenna, often just an empty Pringles chip can covered in tinfoil. Hackers use this antenna to search for unprotected wireless connections. Once they find one, they break in and steal everything on your computer.
I've known people who remain nameless who do this for fun, and what they're doing is trying to spot open wireless connections. And they will show you sometimes on their computers the number of, in some cases, Fortune 500 companies perhaps that may have open network connections.
Finding open connections isn't difficult. Nowadays, they're almost everywhere.
Getting online and sort of becoming part of this computer underground was something that we felt that we had control over in a world that we had really no place in. It's not about exploration. It's about theft. It's about bank fraud. It's about monetary gain, unfortunately.
You're really into computers, huh?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Dialing into the school's computer. They change the password every couple of weeks, but I know where they write it down.
One of the biggest films I think had a huge impact on me that came out in the early 80s was War Games, about a kid who's looking for a video game company. He's a hacker. A lot of the things they show in the movie are true to life as far as how he goes about looking for systems, scanning telephone exchanges for modems, and so on.
I can't tell you how many different hackers I've interviewed who said, I watched that film, I asked for a modem for Christmas.
Search warrants are going out here in Chicago and a dozen other cities coast to coast in an effort to stop computer fraud that is costing companies and consumers millions of dollars.
The thing is, antivirus software doesn't really work anymore. AI and machine learning have ushered us into the next phase of hacker evolution.
The arms race is stacked against the antivirus companies. It's like a flu virus that morphs for each person that it infects. There's no way to make a cure for that.
Hackers don't really face the possibility of going to jail. There's not a lot of personal risk for them. It's not like going to rob a bank where, sooner or later, and probably sooner, you're going to get caught and you're going to go away for a long time.
In fact, often the victims are blamed for getting hacked. So the victims sometimes have extra consequences, but how often are we seeing the actual bad guys, the architects of attacks, getting caught? That's still a rare event.
That's exactly what happened to a small company called CodeSpaces. An attacker gained access into CodeSpaces servers and demanded a ransom. When the company refused to pay, the hacker destroyed the data. CodeSpaces was literally gone.
Harpoon attack is really just a phishing email aimed at somebody who is what they call a whale. And a whale is sort of like the CEO of a large company, or somebody who's sort of, you think is going to be a lot of valuable to you as a hacker.
The evidence is that in large corporations, it's the CEO who's likely to click on those things more than the person way down the chain.
This is an existential threat that's hard to overemphasize. But we're not here to scare you. That's not productive. We're here to empower.
So there are many ways to decrease your exposure to pernicious activities. Cyber hygiene is the key here. That's because so much of the problem is attributable to the most basic cyber hygiene problems. We are in the stage before washing hands. We should get used to washing our hands from a cyber perspective.
Generally talking about reducing your ability to get hacked. So one part of that process is minimizing your attack surface.
One of the defensive innovations that I'm most excited about is containerization. What virtual containers get us is a new way of thinking about defense. Maybe the attack is impossible to stop, but we can dramatically decrease its impact. Consider if, when you click on that suspicious link, a browser instance is created just to open up that web page in a special virtual container. If that web page contains attack code, it's going to succeed. However, it's only going to hack a little virtual box. And once we throw it away,
people in 2 countries.
Emergency has been declared in New York State. Mayor Bloomberg of New York City.
In a matter of seconds, 50 million people simply fall off the grid. Phone lines and water systems fail, and thousands of people are trapped in elevators and subways.
People start to panic, like we couldn't breathe.
It'll be okay, man. It'll be all right.
It is August 14th, 2003, and the largest computers act strangely or slow down. But Blaster was a new kind of threat. It used to be that viruses traveled the internet by piggybacking on other programs. They would arrive at your computer in the form of email attachments. The virus could not activate until someone opened the attachment. But Blaster was a worm. Worms don't need other programs. They propel themselves through the net, and they are self-activating. In other words, you could get Blaster simply by being connected.
you would get infected just by having your PC online. You could be sleeping and your machine would get infected.
Which meant anything connected was susceptible. Systems like the financial network, water treatment centers, and power plants.
In one case, we know that a virus got into the major nuclear reactor in Ohio.
9 months after the blackout, the official report stated that Blaster, despite being released just 3 days earlier, played no significant role in causing the huge shutdown. Some security experts remained unconvinced, pointing to more than just the timing of the two events.
If you read the blackout transcripts of the operators who were in the middle of this when it was happening, what keeps coming up in the transcripts is comments that, stuff isn't moving. Their screens were freezing, which is exactly what the Blaster worm does.
Whether the Blaster virus caused the 2003 blackout remains a contentious issue. But after Blaster, no one doubted that online viruses could cause real-world damage.
It's been actually a real learning exercise for potential attackers and terrorists to see, oh, well, if an accident can cause this, maybe we could cause it as well.
Eric Byers is a former instructor at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. He researches the dangers of connecting critical infrastructure to the internet.
There's no question that you could build a virus to take down a critical infrastructure. For example, our power systems, our water systems, our transportation systems. If those go away, then our life radically changes.
Today, most critical systems are connected to the internet. And the computers these utilities use are the same Windows-based PCs that you might have in your kitchen.
95% of the machines are running Microsoft Windows. So when you have some sort of a worm or a virus or some sort of threat spreading that affects Windows, it spreads like wildfire.
A Canadian oil company came to us and said, we have this big infrastructure and we're curious, can somebody attack this?
So Eric went to work. Using only a laptop and some basic hacker software, he easily broke into the holding tanks at the company's refinery.
So, first of all, I'm going to do what's called cutoff visibility. Now I've fooled it so that the operator doesn't know anything's going wrong in the field, and then I'm actually going to blow up the tank for him. And you can see that all of a sudden this pump has just gone nuts, and pretty soon that tank's going to be overflowing. And in real life, somebody will be walking around with an oil spill. I wish that I could say, nope, all our critical infrastructure is secure, but it's not.
If connecting power plants and oil refineries to the internet is putting them at risk, why not leave them unplugged?
For business reasons, for business efficiency.
Mary Kerwin is a security consultant and a columnist for the Globe and Mail.
One executive interviewed said that he thought it was fine, it was worth taking the risk, so they'd have an edge on the competition by having these open and secure hookups between the utilities and the corporate network.
The problem is, the internet was never designed to be secure.
It was never actually built to do a lot of the things we're using it for right now. It was not meant to be an engine of commerce. It was not meant to hold your banking information.
In the late 1960s, researchers began developing a network that could share information between computers. In the 90s, it went public and exploded. It was no longer just a handful of scientists on the internet. It was now anyone with a modem.
When you have 25 people on a network, you can be pretty sure they're going to play well. But when you have 1 million people on a network, you can be pretty sure that somebody is not playing fair.
There are no secure computers. There are no secure networks.
Amit Yoran is the former director of cybersecurity within the U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
I think sooner or later, we are going to be hit by a cyber failure that will affect either our nation's infrastructure or international infrastructures in a very significant and harmful way.
So the implication is that somebody remotely managed to gain access to these control systems and does that type of damage and leaves the economy at a standstill, essentially. Because without our ability to bank online, to make a phone call, to switch on the lights, we're literally in the dark.
Like most viruses, Blaster had no specific target. Its damage was collateral, releasing it an act of cyber vandalism. Something a kid might do.
Most of the time when these guys get grabbed, if and when they get grabbed, it was just for sport or their pals, or they were sitting in their schoolroom in Germany and somebody annoyed them, so they decided to play a game and write viruses or whatever. So usually they have, particularly the kids, they have no clue of what they're doing, and that's why they can be very dangerous.
They're called hackers. Some would say they're nothing more than hobbyists, kids mostly. But hackers grow up too.
We are the people that are behind the scenes of everything that you take for granted on the internet. It's us.
There are 3 types. The white hats are the good guys. They're the virus hunters or the IT people at your office. The black hats are the bad ones. The virus writers or the crooks who try to steal your credit card number online. And then, somewhere in the middle, are the gray hats. They work both sides of the street, guns for hire in a Wild West industry.
You gained access to more than 200
million identities and had them all for sale. He made $1.9 million from his illicit activities. He posed as a private investigator to buy details that he then sold on the open market. Nego could have gotten away with it, but he made a rookie mistake when an undercover Secret Service agent lured him to Guam for a business deal. In 2013, he touched down on US soil and he was promptly arrested. 2 years later, he was sentenced to 13 years in a federal prison. All these stories show you don't always know who you're dealing with and what they're capable of doing, especially when you're interacting with people online.
No pussy shit, no pussy shit. I'm gone. I would never sleep on a pussy nigga. I would never eat with a pussy nigga. I wouldn't do no dirt with a pussy nigga. Nah, cause baby, I'm a fucking pussy nigga killer. I would never sleep on a pussy nigga. I would never eat with a pussy nigga. I wouldn't do no dirt with a pussy nigga. No pussy nigga. Cause baby, I'm a fucking pussy nigga killer.